Hey Homer Sports, Jacob over here. In this video I'm going to talk a little bit about how I think the Milwaukee Bucks season is going to play out following the firing of Jason Kidd, which as most Bucks fans already know, Jason Kidd was fired a couple days ago following a 23-22 start to the season, in a season in which expectations are pretty high for the Bucks. They are expected to finish in the top 4 or 5 seeds in the Eastern Conference, possibly get home court advantage. They haven't played up to those expectations so far, and Jason Kidd got the boot, largely in part to the subpar performance of the team and the frayed relationships with organizational members and the players on the team. So where do the Bucks go from here this season? It's been a very wild ride so far. There's been a lot of ups and downs. There's been a lot of head-scratching moments. The Bucks have beaten teams like the Cavaliers, but then they've fallen to teams like the Chicago Bulls. It's been really weird. It's been really up and down. In other words, a lot like Milwaukee Bucks seasons of past, where they finish with a pretty mediocre record. They make the playoffs as a lower level seed, and they lose the first round of the playoffs because they're an inconsistent team that has a lot of youth. And Jason Kidd used the youth excuse a lot this season, when in reality many of the players on this team have been in the league for 4 or 5 seasons. By now, the Bucks should be performing like we thought they were going to perform a long time ago. Back in the 2015 season, 2014-2015 season, I remember thinking, man, this Bucks team is going to be really, really good in 3 years. I think they can compete for a title in 3 years. Well, here we are 3 years later, and we're literally at the exact same place that we were then. About a 500 team that's going to make the playoffs. It's going to get booted out in the first round. That's what we are right now. That's what the Bucks are. And in order to take the next step, they needed to fire Jason Kidd. That was step number 1, because Jason Kidd is out of touch, and he had a lot of frayed relationships with players and organizational members, and his schemes were outdated, and he just wasn't a great guy to lead this team. I think when they first hired him in 2014-2015, I think that the Bucks were, I think it was a good hire back then, because Jason Kidd knows how to work with youth. He knew how to develop players, and he did a good job of that for a long time. But now it's time to move on to a coach who can help this team win, who can help build a team to be a successful champion. We don't need to develop players anymore. We don't need to use the youth experience or the youth excuse like Jason Kidd was saying. The Bucks need to start winning basketball games, and the only way to do that was to get rid of Jason Kidd. So going forward, I think the biggest news coming up here in the next few weeks is going to be Jabari's return, and I do not know how well he's going to do. A lot of people are assuming, well, when we get Jabari Parker back, we're going to be a lot better, but I don't know about that. I think he'll provide a boost, but, I mean, we don't even know if Jabari Parker is going to be the same Jabari Parker, because he has torn his ACL twice, and usually when you tear your ACL twice, you're never the same player. So I'm really on edge about this. I don't know if he's going to be able to be the player he was before. I think he'll give us a little bit of a boost, at least a confidence boost, if nothing less. But I don't know what we're going to get out of him. It's kind of up in the air right now. I'm going to be very excited to see him come back, though, and I really hope that he can continue the success he had before he went down with another ACL tear last season. It's been really unfortunate because ever since the 2014-2015 season, the Bucks haven't really had Chris Middleton, Jabari Parker, and Giannis Antetokounmpo on the court at the same time for really any time at all. I don't think they have been on the court at the same time since the beginning of the 2014-2015 season. And really, I mean, those are like the 3 core guys. Those are the guys who are those were our big 3 back then. That's who we thought were going to lead us to the promised land, those 3 players. And now we have the addition of Bledsoe, so when we get Jabari back, we could be looking at a pretty formidable team, assuming Jabari is the same player. But I think the biggest issue the Bucks need to correct is the rebounding and the defense. Defensively, the Bucks are not where they should be, and it's really frustrating to watch night in and night out because the Bucks give up so many threes because of that defensive scheme that Kidd ran. And I really, really hope that Prunty just scraps that entire thing, and the offensive scheme too. The defensive scheme, it's hard to explain, but it involves a lot of ball swings and leaving guys wide open for corner threes, and that's just not a winning strategy, especially in today's NBA. I think Jason Kidd was really out of touch. I mean, his defensive strategy back in, say, 1990, 1995 would have been perfect. The Bucks would be a dominant team if they played back then. But right now, in today's NBA, with the amount of lights out 3-point shooters, this Bucks team can't play defense like that anymore. They need to get up on the perimeter. They need to be a better perimeter defending team, and they should be because of how lengthy they are. And the second thing they need to be is a good rebounding team, and they're not. And it's really odd because the Bucks have, like I said, a very, very long team. They should be a good rebounding team, but they're not physical enough. And I think a lot of that starts with the center position. And John Henson, as good as John Henson's been, as nice of a rebound year as he's had this year, he's not an NBA center, especially defensively. He's just not. And neither is Thonmaker, at least at this point in his career. They're both very long, they're both very skinny, and they're not very good at defending guys bigger than them. John Henson has a very hard time with centers that are more physical than him, and I think that if the Bucks need to go out and get a guy who can be physical on the interior, like, say, an Andrew Bogut. And there's been a lot of rumors circulating about the Bucks trading for a guy like, say, Hassan Whiteside or DeAndre Jordan, but I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I don't really think it is, and I don't think it'd be a good idea because we have our core right now. We just need to. I mean, the center is going to be a position for the Bucks, I think, that's going to be rotating year in and year out as this team moves along, and that's really all it needs to be. It just needs to be a guy who can rebound and play solid defense. That's all the Bucks need out of that position, and John Henson isn't providing it. Neither is Thonmaker, although I hope in the future they can groom Thonmaker into a guy who has more muscle and more strength and isn't as awkward on the court. Really, the Bucks just need to find a guy who can fill that hole and do what they need the center position to do, which is rebound and play solid defense. The Bucks have plenty of scores. They don't need to go out and get a center that scores 20 a game. They just need a guy who can body a guy up in the paint and force a bad shot or play good defense and get some rebounds. That's all they need out of that position. So those are the two big things the Bucks need this season in order to be successful, and I think Jabari Parker returning is going to be at the very least a confidence boost to the team. I really hope that Jabari Parker is as good as he was, but I'm not going to get my head too high on that. I mean, just the probability of coming back after 2 straight ACL tears in consecutive seasons. And then one more ACL tear, and he's probably done for the rest of his career. So, if the Bucks can do all that, though, if they can find that center that they need, if they can scrap that defensive scheme, and also on offense, they play way too much iso ball. They need to run better offense for this team. But if they can fix those issues, I really think this Bucks team has the potential to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals at full strength. I really think that the Bucks, if they do all this, if they can correct the issues that they have, they can win a playoff series this year, and that was the goal coming into the season. So I do hope they were able to do it. But other than that, that's really what they need to do this season. And going forward, I think that they can build off of this. I hope that they can have a season that they can build off of. But going forward, it's going to rely on it's going to be Jabari, it's going to be finding a center, it's going to be scrapping that defensive scheme that's going to help this team in the long run, and hopefully win a playoff series this year. So, anyways, that's all I have to say about the Bucks this season moving forward. I'm really excited to see how they do. I really am, and I hope that they are able to. I hope that they're able to win a playoff series this year. I mean, it's been 17 years. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. If you're new here, if you're a Bucks fan, if you're a Packers fan, Badgers, Brewers, whatever, anything Wisconsin sports related, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe as well. Follow me on Twitter at oversports41512, and I'll see you guys next time.